At the end of the meeting last week, I mentioned about the bylaws, and there's a couple of things that we caught that I wasn't aware of that I got straightened out on at the end of it. So we're going to have a board meeting after this and fix those couple things, and we'll get those sent out to you. So we're not going to mess with the bylaws this week. Mike, you want to stand up and kind of give your spiel?
I went ahead and sent those of you who haven't paid your dues yet an email. So if you got that from me, it means you hadn't paid them. So that's you don't have to come ask me. You hadn't paid them. Some of you taking care of that tonight, and I really appreciate that. Remember, if we get these bylaws passed the way that we intend to, sometime in late October or early November, you'll be paying $35 again. So many of you paid throughout the year, and I really do appreciate that as well. So if you're just now paying, pretty soon I'll be asking you again, because we'll get that changed back the way that it used to be, so we're not having to play catch up right here in August. Because normally we have a clinic as well, so you're paying for two things right there at once, and that's pretty much a nightmare. You know, the clinic is online, and it's time to pay for that as well, so I'm not involved in that money. But generally, we always are. So that's one of the reasons we like to get that change back to where we got separation between that, so we're not hitting you for so much money at once. But remember, there's several ways to pay. I'll always take cash. I'll take your check, $35 made out to the Tyler chapter. You can go to tylerrefs.org. There's a PayPal button there. You can click on that, pay that way. Or you can mail it to me, and my address is in Arbiter. But any way I can help you get those dues paid, I'd be glad to. And if you're watching at home, or if I sent you an email that you've gotten that, if you don't intend to officiate this year, please respond and say, I don't intend to officiate this year. No problem with that. It's just that I don't want to keep hounding you for that money. So if you have any questions about the dues, the checkbook, anything else, any other bills we pay, certainly you're welcome to always ask. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Mike. All right, Stephen, do you want to do what? Oh, yeah. Do what, Stephen? All right, Jeremy?
All right, guys, so sorry I wasn't able to be here last week. I had a family vacation booked, and that was priority, so apologies for that. A couple of updates. Crew chiefs, so scrimmages, you'll likely hear something within the next couple of days about crews and where we're headed. Those that are on a crew, just wait for your referee. If you're not on a crew, we will assign based on your location, or if there's a crew you want to go with, those type of scenarios, essentially we'll spread you out across the area. But scrimmages start August the 12th, 13th, and then we'll have another round the following Thursday, Friday, and I think we only have one on Saturday. Stephen's got it up here, but the annual TASO meeting is July 31st starting at 9 a.m., and today is the last day to sign up. So here's how it plays out if you don't. So if you sign up today, it's $50, and you watch it live on the 31st. And then you also have access to the recording after the fact if you want to go through it kind of in the online clinic perspective. If you are unable to attend and you don't sign up, it's $75 after the fact to do the online clinic. So save yourself $25, sign up, and start your computer at 9 a.m. on the 31st. New members, so if you're new to TASO this year, there's no fee for that. So don't worry about that, just sign up and get your educational credits. The test is also open, so I believe it's 70, so someone correct me if I'm wrong, 70 for sub-varsity and varsity regular season, 80 to work the playoffs. Okay, thought I was straight on that one. That's correct? Cool. And then last thing for crew chiefs, we will start to conduct crew chief meetings before the regular scheduled meetings. I'm going to team up with Lance and kind of figure out how we want to play that out and what we want to communicate in those meetings and just the overall. I think they're extremely productive in the past year, so definitely want to look to continue those. But I didn't want to just throw it together and waste your time getting here early. So we'll make sure they're productive, informative, or we won't have them. That's all I have. Stephen? So just go in, update your arbiter preferences, get all of your addresses, your leave locations, your cell phone numbers, your email, whatever scenario you have in there that needs to be updated, update that. And then also, Stephen is your guru now on subvarsity, so if you have any special requests, he would love to accommodate those and reach out to him after the meeting. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you. Any questions on any of that? Everybody clear? All right. We've got a special guest with us today. I'm a member. Oh, a special member with us today. Well, here, I'll let Buddy introduce himself.
Stephen, you get that text? That, what I just sent you. That's all I want. Simple man. Thanks. All right, well, Lance asked me to talk to you guys tonight about pass interference, and so I'll try to do 10 minutes. The goal here is to do 10 to 15 minutes max, just talking through some things, and watch a short video about, I think, 10, 12 minutes long at the end, and then we'll take, comments, questions, whatever, throughout, just whatever. First of all, let's talk about, you'll find the rules for pass interference in Rule 7, passing game. So I'd like to make this as interactive as possible. And so let's just start out with somebody. Can anyone or any number of people just talk to me a little bit about what it takes to have pass interference? What are some things that have to happen? Hold up your hand and we'll get you. Legal forward pass, not just a forward pass, but a legal forward pass has to be beyond the line of scrimmage. What else? Has to be contact. Has to be contact. What kind of contact? Impeding contact. What other kind of contact? Intentional. Has to be intentional. Let me see some heads rattle this way or this way. It has to be intentional. Had to have intent to impede. What else? Catchable. Thank you. Catchable, legal, forward pass, crosses the neutral zone. So, you got that yet? Stephen? I'm waiting on you, brother. Okay. Can it scroll down? There's more than that. There we go. Okay, so there's my shorthand. There's my shorthand for what we just went over. So that's a lot of things to remember, right? Catchable, cross the neutral zone. We said this in a lot of different orders, in a lot of different ways. So at the top there, it's catchable, legal, forward pass, crosses the neutral zone. So if you ever want to remember all that stuff, you just write it down like that. Just remember it, jot that down in your rule book right quick. Put it on your phone. That is an easy way to remember all those things we just talked about. We talked about contact and the fact that there has to be contact. There's no face guarding in NCAA rules. So we have to have contact, and the contact has to be intentional. So I give you the classic example of unintentional contact. The classic example is going to be when feet get entangled up. So let's say we got two players running down the field, and one is in chase mode, the defender, and the offensive guy's in front, and he's looking back for the ball, and he happens to hit and trip the receiver. That is sometimes we'll see that thrown as pass interference. That is not pass interference. Now what it is a complaint from the coach. But it's not pass interference, and we're there to administer the rules as they're printed. So there has to be intent. We talked about beyond the neutral zone and what it takes to have illegal pass interference, and one of those elements is it has to cross the neutral zone. There can be no pass interference. Actually, there can be pass interference, it's just not illegal. So if you look at the way the rule book is structured, the rule book is actually quite intelligent, the writers are, in the way they've structured this. And so there's such a thing as pass interference that's not illegal in the book. We're going to show you here in just a minute. Go ahead and put Rule 7 up there, please. And so we cannot have illegal pass interference behind the neutral zone. So you've got a classic example of a running back who goes out in the flat, not the flat, but behind the line, and he's in position to catch a forward pass. And as long as he's not fouled upon in an otherwise way, it cannot be pass interference. It can be some other foul, but it cannot be pass interference. You cannot have pass interference behind the line. Let's talk about if the ball gets touched. So let's say Chad is the umpire. Get off your phone, boy. Chad's the umpire, and I'm the quarterback, and I throw the ball, and it hits him off the top of the head. Can we have pass interference after that or not? I want everybody in the room to get okay with this. Can we have pass interference after that or not? The answer is no. What if Chad is an offensive player? Same thing. What if Chad is a defensive player? Can we have pass interference after that? No. Okay? So you guys are good. You can sit down, Chad. Stay off that phone, boy. I may need you again. So we just talked about touching. So, okay, so look here. So we're on page 82. Go down if you can. Now, you assured me you could do this. Okay. Anybody has their book, just turn to 82, FR 82. All right, that's great. You're exceeding expectations. Scroll down, though, please. So here we go. We have illegal contact and pass interference. Okay? So we can have, go scroll down. Keep going. Keep going. Yes, sir, please. Keep going. Okay, back up. I must have missed it. I just wanted to make the point that we can have illegal and legal pass interference. And I think we talk about pass interference a lot, very loosely, and we just talk about the illegal type. But to know what's legal and what's not, it helps to understand, at least me, that there's a legal type, and that's what we talked about. There's a legal type of interfering. After a touch, behind the line of scrimmage, when the pass is not catchable, when it's not a legal pass, when it doesn't cross the neutral zone. Those are all types of interference that are actually legal because they didn't check all those boxes. All right, so go back up there on 82. I'm sorry I got you going back and forth. Any questions, comments so far? Okay. Let's just read through. Right, Article 8, please. Go to, and of course the book's going to separate us out between offensive and defensive. Let's just go to defensive right quick. It says defensive pass interference is, stop there, contact beyond the neutral zone by a Team B player whose intent to impede. There's the intent. Don't take my word for it. It's right there. To impede an eligible opponent is obvious and could prevent the opponent the opportunity of receiving a catchable, there's the catchable part, forward pass. We talked about that. When in question, a legal forward pass is catchable. So if you're in any doubt, it's catchable. And we're going to, if that's the only last element you need to have pass interference, then you have it, and there it is. If in question, it's catchable. Keep going. Scroll down a little bit. Okay. Now, we talked about what is and what is, now we're going to talk about what is not again. When, after the snap, it is not pass interference, opposing players immediately charge and establish contact. When players immediately charge and establish contact with opponents at a point that is within 1 yard beyond the neutral zone. So stand up there, Chad. So he's a defender. I'm the offensive guy. I'm trying to get on my route, and Chad engage me. Okay? As long as he lets me go about here, when I get to that same yard line, as long as he lets me go, and he's never held me, then that is legal. Y'all got it? So it's basically saying opponents can engage each other within 1 yard, and then all bets are off after that, as far as the impeding part. All right. When 2 or more eligible players are making a simultaneous and bona fide attempt to reach, catch, or bat the pass, it is not pass interference. Eligible players of either team have equal rights to the ball. We'll look at a play on the video, and we're going to talk about how the defender is not making a bona fide attempt to get to the pass, to catch it. He's making, well, it says to bat, but it's to catch or bat the pass. And so basically everybody's got equal rights to the ball. But you'll see in that play where there's an advantage taken, and it makes this whole number 2 there null and void. When a team B is not pass interference, when a team B player legally contacts an opponent before the pass is thrown. Legally contacts. So there is legal contact that's not pass interference. When there is contact by a team B player that otherwise will be pass interference during the down, in which a team A potential kicker from a scrimmage kick formation simulates a scrimmage kick by throwing the ball high and deep. This is about 10 years old. This is a play. It's kind of like you might see this once. You might see it on a highlight, and you might not. So there was a time period in the game whenever there was a strategy cooked up by some coach that said, let me draw a pass interference foul. Let's attempt to do that. And my gunner, everybody knows what the gunner is on a punt, right? So the gunner's going to go down, and gunners get held a lot off the line. And it doesn't get called a lot. And so the coach says, some creative coach said, well, let me just have my punter simulate a punt by throwing the ball high and deep. And let's get this called over here. We're going to tell the official, look out, he's going to get held. And so that's why this rule was put in. It was put in about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit further back than that. So while it's important to know the rule, just know that you're not going to see that very often. But on 4th down in the scrimmage kick formation, if the punter reaches back and throws that ball high and deep, you can't have pass interference. That's what it says. It is not pass interference when, and this is one of those times. On 4th down, it has to meet all those criteria there in number 4. Questions, comments so far? Going fast and furious? Anybody jump in anytime they want to? Yes, sir. No, sir. That is not pass interference because we didn't have the elements that we talked about earlier with contact and intent. Okay, the part about not getting your head around is one of the categories, those letters that we're about to get into that, is not playing the ball. But if you don't play the ball, you still have to have all the other elements. So come here, Chad. Chad's the offensive guy, and I'm the defender. And go up to catch the pass that's coming from behind my head. Okay? If I never intend to impede him the opportunity to catch that the pass, it is not pass interference. I'm not playing the ball's coming from behind me, right? But I've never touched him, held him, arm barred him, none of that. So there is no face guarding in our game at all. Does that help at all? You have to have the contact. You have to have the contact, and it has to be significant. It can't be, stand up. It can't be this, reach for the ball. It can't be this. You know, that's nothing. Now reach for the ball. That's something. Hard to catch a ball one-handed, right? I mean, they do it nowadays, but it's hard. So you got to have intent, you got to have contact. In our game, there is no face guarding. If you'll just remember that, you got that part. Contact. Significant contact. Remember, it said obvious. Did you remember the word obvious up there? It said obvious. Okay. It means Granny can get it from the 31st row. All right, go back to the original slide real quick. We're about to finish up with this part. So what we're going to go through is an acronym that I just came up with. There's a couple others out there. It's called, you remember it? H-chant. There's how many types of pass interference in our game? Teague, how many? Wake up. How many types of pass interference? 6 types. How many letters are up there? 6 letters. These are the 6 types. Who wants to go for the first one? Holding. There we go. Who wants to go for the second one? Cut off. Thank you. It's the least called one out there, as it should be. I'm not even sure it should be I'm not sure it should even be pass interference anymore, but it is. So holding, cut off. Next, hook. You can hook somebody, but you've also got to what? Turn them. You've got to hook them and turn them. Come here, Chad. Chad's going on a route. The ball's coming from this way. I'm hooking him. That's the turn, okay? And it's a lot more subtle than that. A. What's A? Arm bar. Chad, you might as well just stay standing up, boy. Chad's going to catch a pass, and it's that thing we were talking about earlier where it's hard to catch a pass. You see a one-handed receiver, and you might have a problem. A one-armed receiver's going to catch the ball like that. You see him like that, you probably got a problem. Look for this. It can be subtle too. In, the most often called and the most obvious one, and my favorite because it's hard to argue it. If you're a coach, what's in? Not playing the ball. And the last one, T, through the back. We're going to look at an example of that here in just a minute. So there's my little acronym. If you ever want to remember all the elements, we talked about that earlier. Just jot that down and memorize it. And here are your 6 types of pass interference. And Mr. O'Neill, I'm ready for that video when you are. This video was produced by CFO. It is many years old. It's about 8 years old. It was narrated by the late Jim Blackwood. Many of you in this room, gray-haired people, you know who Jim Blackwood was. He died just this year from complications related to COVID. Jim was a hard-nosed guy, but his passion was football officiating. And I think it fitting that we just hear some of his words from the past that still apply to pass interference game rules today.
He or replay, this is the man that you want to watch. He's field judge's man, and the field judge will make the call. You won't see it until we go to the end zone, but there's early contact and not playing the ball by the defender, number 25. So as you go to the end zone shot, you want to pay particular attention to the contact by number 25. You can see right here he goes in. He's already made contact. He's got contact there. He's trying to go with him. He's staying all over him. So we have early contact or not playing the ball. A good, solid DPI call.
You stop it there. So some of this is timing. Did he get his head around? The defender. But when did he get his head around? After the fact. Okay, that's not really a great, there's not a ton of interference there, but you have to take the timing element and make this a two-step process. First step is, when does the the entire process is about when has it occurred. When does it occur? Before he gets his head around, and then two, is it significant enough? So make this a two-step process. And on the first one, did that answer your question about the difference in face guarding and not playing? Okay, so if all that player had done was just face guard, that would not have been pass interference. But the fact that he got into the offensive guy with intent, he had all those elements we talked about. He had contact, it was intent, it was obvious. We had catchable forward pass, legal forward pass, cross neutral, all that stuff. So I hope that's a great example there for your question earlier. Go ahead. There you go. Look, a comment up here was looking back didn't save that guy on that second play. Looking back doesn't save him because he had already committed the foul.
At the playing through the back on the replay, but we're going to lose sight right there, and he's going to cut to the outside toward the head linesman, and you can see number 20 went right through the back of number 11. And the replay here will stay with him as he comes down. And you can see that he's broken off, and there comes 20, and 20 is not going to get there, so he just goes through his back, keeps him from making the catch. And we get one more look at it. It's a good, solid DPI call playing through the back.
I would just say make sure everything doesn't get there at the same time.
It's actually the number 2 man in from the line judge's side that we lose sight of, but watch it as it comes back to the goal line. You're going to see that as the pass is thrown, the defender appears to go right through the back of the receiver at the goal line pylon, pushing the field judge off the pylon. But we have a no call. But before we make a judgment on this, let's make sure we look at the end zone shot. As you can see here, you can see that the defender is going right straight through the back of the receiver, number 6, and this is DPI playing through the back, and it's one that we won't call. So this should be DPI.
That's the T through the back. And this is grab and restrict, same as hold.
As we watch this play, gentlemen, stay with the 2 at the top, and we'll see him right at the goal line. The defender's going to grab him right there. He grabs his arm and restricts him from going after the ball. So he restricts the receiver by grabbing him. As we go to the replay, you'll see right here, very close, they're just kind of feeling each other, nothing here, nothing here. Now watch the defender, 13, he's going to hook his arm right there, and he's going to drag it. He's got restricted, and we've got DPI correctly called.
That's a close one. That's a
In
close
this
one.
play, gentlemen, we want to stay with this receiver right here, who's only going to go down about 5 yards, and then he's going to cut back to the middle, and you can see that he's wrapped up right there, so we got to grab and restrict, and we have a no call. This is one that we do want to make a call on, gentlemen. Here's the end zone shot. There's the man that's going to go down. There's the defender that's going to grab him and restrict him. So just stay with it as he moves. You can see right there as he comes across, he grabs him, wraps him, restricts him, and we should have DPI. That is a call that we must make. Here's one more look at it, and you get an even better look. You can see how 56 has already wrapped the man, so DPI should be the correct call. In this play, gentlemen, stay with that man right there. As he goes out towards the head linesman's side, you see the defender comes across. He lays an arm into him, and so he pushes him off with his arm. So we have an arm bar correctly called. Here's a up-close look at it. You can see as he breaks off, number 3 sticks his arm in right there and pushes him. So DPI is the correct call. Good, solid call. This is another good example of an arm bar. If you watch the defender, he's going to lay his arm right across the chest of the receiver number 23. And as you look at this one, you just get the same view again, just from a little different angle. But then now you're going to get to look at the foul up close, right there at the arm across the chest. Good call, DPI.
Yeah, the
In
comment
this
up
play,
here,
gentlemen, you
pause
want
it.
to watch these two here. The defender is in the process of riding the receiver out of bounds. Or
Just had the question up here, can he feel for him without getting called for pass interference? And the answer is yes. And that may very well be what that player was trying to do, was just feel for that offensive guy. But if he holds the arm down, then that's the intent to impede that's obvious, that has the effect on the play. So while some of us may or may not agree with some of these calls, the philosophy is there. Jim is doing the best he can to find some video to back up the rules and the philosophy to
close,
teach
right
it.
there, the arm
So
across the
if he
chest.
holds that arm down
Good
right
call,
there,
DPI.
then it's pass interference, whether he's looking back for the ball or not. If he's feeling for him, that's not. That's another close one. There's a few close ones on this film. Go ahead.
In this play, gentlemen, you want to watch these two here. The defender is in the process of riding the receiver out of bounds, or cutting him off, as we refer to it. You'll see right here, he's not playing the ball, but he's pushing him off his original route. So we call that a cutoff. And again, you get one more look at
That's
it.
easily
Cuts him
not
off,
playing
drives
the
him out
ball.
of bounds.
So
We
if
have
I
a
want to put
correct
this in a
call for
category, I hate the
DPI for
cutoff category. So I would just put this as not playing the ball. Again, he's trying to find a play to
In this play,
show you
gentlemen,
a
we just get
cutoff.
the replay of the original play, but you can see the defender, number 15, is going to
Not
push number
looking,
6
suspect,
off his route. He's
contact.
pushing him off his route. hoping
intent,
he doesn't make
obvious.
the catch, but he still makes the catch. But cutoff is a proper call and was the correct call for this. You'll see the wide angle
This
here.
is a
He
pretty
reaches
easy
in,
one.
pushes him off his route. So good call for DPI cutoff. In this play, gentlemen, we want to stay with the receiver to the top towards the head linesman's side as he goes down into the end zone. You'll see a little hook and turn. See the defender kind of puts his hands around his waist and turns him, preventing him from getting to the ball. So we have a hook and turn or a hook and restrict. Here's the other angle of it. You can
All
see
right.
that he's
Go back
restricting the receiver and
if it
attempting
doesn't
to
show
get
it
to the
again.
ball by hooking
You'll
and
see the
turning
kid's
him.
shoulder. You'll see the 85's left shoulder turn. It's subtle.
Kind of
It's in
puts his
slow
hands
motion.
around his waist and
But
turns
that's what
him,
happens. The
preventing
hook
him
is
from getting
okay.
to
The turn
ball.
is not.
So we have a hook and turn or a hook and restrict.
his left
Here's the
shoulder
other angle
turn.
of it. You can see that he's
And
restricting receiver.
I guarantee you,
attempting to
the
get to
kid had a
ball by
whole
hooking
lot
and
better
turning
chance of
him.
catching that pass
And
if he
we'll
doesn't get
one
turned.
more look coming up right here. This is a correct call for DPI. This is the example of the hook and turn. In this play, gentlemen, we want to stay with this outside receiver who's the field judge's man. But as he goes across the middle, you'll see that we have DPI called by the back judge. This is a hook and turn, as you'll see right here. See, he hooks him, now he pulls his arm, so
better
he
example.
restricts his movement to the ball. So we have an example of hook and turn here. Here's one more look at it. You can see that the defender goes high, rakes his shoulder. Now he's going to take and turn it, pull him away from the ball, so he restricts his movement to the ball. So the good example of hook and turn, DPI, correct call. In this play, gentlemen, stay with that receiver there. We're going to talk about the first one that we mentioned earlier about offensive pass interference, that of the receiver gaining separation to make the catch. And while we don't see it on this wide angle shot, we will get a better look when we get up close on the replay. So the offensive pass interference is the correct call, as you're going to see as we follow 81. The receiver in 17. Now watch 81. He's going to push his hand right there, push off, get a separation, make the catch, and complete the catch. So offensive pass interference is the correct call. In this play, watch the slot man in. We're going to lose right there, but he goes down and drives through a defender, comes back and makes the catch, which is the second thing that we had mentioned earlier about offensive pass interference, that of driving through the defender who has established his position. Now, here's the replay of that, so you can see number 17 is going to go down. He just drives through the defender, so we have offensive pass interference under that category, correctly called. On this play, gentlemen, the third man in from the top is going to pick off a defender who's trying to cover number 4, which frees up number 4 to make and complete the catch and a huge gain. So this is what we call a pick play. It's offensive pass interference, and it's a good example of that. Now we're going to go to the replay of this, and you can see as number 4 at the bottom comes across, number 2 at the top comes in. That was the third man. He just picks that defender to keep the defender from getting to number 4. So offensive pass interference for a pick play is correctly called. This will conclude this training tape on offensive and defensive pass interference. It's my hope
Stephen.
that the plays that we
All right, so I just went ahead and let it, our main focus tonight was defensive pass interference. I went ahead and let it play through on the offensive side. Go ahead. Whose key was it? I don't even know where he came from. Whose key was it? Where did he start? Slot guy? So it's going to be the back judge or a short wing. So I would urge you, it's a great talking point to discuss who's supposed to make that call. If you could, I don't know, Stephen, if you could find that last play or not and just freeze it at the beginning. But I urge you, especially on your 7-man crews, stay with your key until your guy is free. If you think there's a cross,
on
stay
this
with
play,
your
gentlemen,
guy
the third man
until
in from the
after
top is
the
going to pick
cross.
off a defender.
Okay, so let's freeze it. Can we freeze it at the beginning, if you can? So we're gonna find whose key this is, and it's that guy's responsibility to see this. All right, stop. Where is he coming? Where is it? Top, second. Is it number 2 from the top? He's number 3 from the top. So, huh? 4. Okay, so this is a great example of whose key is that in 7-man. Does everybody understand who we're looking at? We're looking at the guy on the bottom, number 4. Who does the picking? At the top. Okay, so we got 7-man crew, we got okay, we're starting at the top of the screen. That's number 1. That goes to your deep wing. And then number 2 is going to go to, they got D wing over here. I'm not sure in 7, is John, help me out. Is Tasso the same as we are? Short wing is number 2 with Tasso. Okay. Okay, and so that gives the back judge number 3. Okay, so that's the way, this is the back judge's call, Toby. So let it play through. Okay, that's the back. Who's ever starts with that guy, that's who makes that call. Because until all this crossing stuff happens and your guy goes away, completely away from you, and then you pick up the new guy. Always stay with your guy in crossing patterns until after the cross. Never anticipate the cross and go with a different guy before the cross. Because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, because it happened to me. And that's why I can stand up here and talk to you so much about it so adamantly, is I anticipated the cross. It happened. I left my guy who picked a guy, and the guy that I left picks, and the guy that's coming at me catches the pass. Now, I heard it, but I didn't see it. Back judge throws a flag. It's a correct call. And I'm looking like a ding-a-ling over there with my flag in my pocket. So let the cross happen. More of the story is if I'd stayed with my guy who did the picking, I'd have had a flag too. An easy one. Any other questions? Couple of just real quick things about OPI. That's really for a different night maybe. But make sure that if you see offensive pass interference or what you think is offensive pass interference, make sure that the ball's being thrown in that third of the field. So you've got hash marks out, and you've got hash mark to hash mark. That's a third. And then you've got the other hash mark to out of bounds. That's another third. So you got a third, and a third. If you see OPI, like here, like if you see OPI in one of those thirds that the ball is not thrown to, you're not going to throw the flag. So if the ball's thrown to another receiver, other than the one who did the push off, in the example of gaining separation, you don't want to have your flag down for that. It's not OPI unless it's catchable. The ball is catchable to that guy. Not any guy, but that guy. So we can talk about that another night, but I just want to make that point. Anything else? All right. Appreciate y'all.
All right. You've got one more? Yeah. All right.
Just with Stephen. So there is one meeting change, not next Monday, but the following, August the 9th, I believe. It's been moved to August the 10th, and we'll have a vendor here for that meeting as well. So that's why we had to move it to when they were available. So the meeting will be August the 10th. We'll have a vendor here, and any new members that are looking for gear, I encourage you to wait if that makes sense for you, and purchase from there so you can see the items, touch them, try them on, whatever the scenario may be. And then obviously anyone else that needs stuff, you can purchase that then.
All right. Hey, also, later in the year, we may have to do some meeting adjustments because of not having the use of the facility, but we will get that out to you as soon as it's concrete, and so you can make plans according to what dates are going to be at. But it's like the last 4 or 5 meetings, so it's late in the season. So, anybody else have anything else? All right. Good luck. We'll see y'all now. Oh, y'all need to start drinking water and working out, exercising, doing something. Get ready. Oh, hey, the board meeting is going to be in the youth building.